Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kissflow's Global Demo Day. So, I am Megha, your host for today, and with me I have Mr. Bharat Kumar, who's a senior solution consultant at Kissflow with 7 years of specialization in SaaS low-code, no-code platform. He helps customers navigate the complex landscapes of business solutions through his expertise in app development, and his approach to digital transformation has made him a leader in process improvement, constantly evaluating business operations. So, in today's demo, Mr. Bharat is going to guide you all on how you could perfect your project management process with the tailored low-code application, so that you can experience a powerful project management for your organization with Kissflow's low-code, no-code app. So, before we get started with the demo, I would just like to set the agenda for today. We will be starting this session with a poll question to better understand each one of you. And then we'll go on to the introduction of the platform by Mr. Bharat, and then the demo of the platform. Finally, we'll have the Q&A session. I would also like to make it clear that you can keep dropping in your questions during the demo also in the Q&A box. If at all any doubts or any questions, keep dropping it in the Q&A box, and around the end of the session, we'll answer all of them. And another announcement is that we have a special giveaway planned for all the attendees joining us live today. So to know more about the giveaway, make sure to stay till the end of the session. So yeah, without any further delay, let's get started with the poll question that will appear on your screen now. I guess we can get started with the demo. Over to Mr. Bharat.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our demo day. Today's webinar is about perfecting your project management processes with a low-code application. Let me set the agenda for today's webinar. The first part is about, we're going to see a bit about the introduction on what Kissflow is, what are the offerings, and then we'll directly jump into the demonstration part. All right, let me share my screen first. So let's start with the name itself, Kissflow. Kiss stands for Keep It Simple and Smart. We are a one platform. It's a low code, no code platform. We have customers from 160 countries, and we have 10,000 plus customers and 1 million users across the globe. These are all some of our existing customers. You can see we have Philips, Caribbean Airlines, HubSpot, Michelin, World Vision, Rappi, MTR. You will see popular logos across the globe in this list. Of course, we also have a lot of customers, but we have signed an NDA with them, so we might not be able to share all the customer lists here. So if you look at this slide, you will see the core modules of the platform. Like we have the vertical modules like process automation, work management, and app development. Then we have the horizontal layer as well. Right? Let's start with the process automation. The process automation is taken care by a process management system, right? Where you can create business processes, set up business rules, define your user roles and SLAs, get some notifications around it. Some of the best examples would be purchase request process or an employee onboarding process. All these elements come into the process automation part, right? Then we have the work management that is handled by our boards module, which is the case management system. Some of the examples would be like a service request or a project management or something like an admin service request. All these processes can be handled through work management. Then we have the application builder. Using our application builder, you'll be able to build custom user roles. Each and every user persona will have their own set of landing pages, and all these pages can be built from scratch. Okay, and that can be assigned across different user roles as such. Right now, if you look at the horizontal layer, we have the integrations module. We have a very robust integration. It's based on ETL, where there's a trigger in place followed by n number of actions. And then we have the collaborations part. Then, of course, we even have the reports and analytics module. So if you look at this one, you can see that all these modules combine together to form one single platform, just the Kissflow work platform, right? So now that's about what Kissflow is. And this is a very, very high level overview about what are the capabilities and everything. Now let's jump into today's demonstration. So I'm going to switch tabs and open up the project management app. Right. Again, to set some context over here, I'm going to be switching between two different windows. One is the window that's in black, right? And there's another window which is in purple. So there are two different personas. One is the project manager's persona. Then we have a timesheet staff user persona. Okay. So this is the project management app. Before we go into the app demonstration, there are some things that I like to cover. Like, what are the current challenges that usually the project managers face in their organization, right? Um, the first thing that comes to my mind is that there's no one size that fits all. Each and every organization will have a different set of problems, and not every tool will be able to satisfy all those problems, right? If you look at any out of the box solutions, they might the customization will be a bigger challenge over here because that won't align with their standards and their expectations, right? So that's why it's best that if you go with something like uh, in platform, right? When it comes to platform, you can build these modules that is required for your organization and for your problems, and you can use it and easily align it with your business goals as well. Okay, so if you look at this project management app, there are two personas. One is the project manager, and then we have a timesheet staff user. Okay, let me give you a high level overview about the different modules we have. Right, we have a projects module, then we have a timesheets module, then we have the customers module, then we have an invoices module, then there's an expenses module, and there's a task center as well. We'll touch upon all these modules, and we'll also see a journey of one customer creation till the project creation and everything. Right now, I'm going to quickly jump back to the dashboard. If you look at this dashboard, you will see different KPIs that a project manager should see. Like, what is the total sales, how much revenue, and how many customers, and how many expenses happening in the organization. All these KPIs will be displayed as part of the dashboard itself. And if you look at this report, you will see the revenue by different projects, and you can also measure the income and expenses based on each project. And you can also see the different projects that are on your watch list. Okay. Typically, when you take a customer's module, usually all these customer information will be synced from a CRM system, right? So if you have any CRM system, you can integrate with the Kissflow platform and bring in all your customers over here. Or if you don't have the integration capability, you can always use the import option, and you can import all your customers into the platform, or you can still manually create these customers into the platform. Okay, so these are all the different customers that I've already built in. We have Tony Stark, we have Sherlock Holmes, and a couple of other guys over here, right? So in this demonstration, we will use all these customers module. We will create a project, and we will see how to create tasks for them, log timesheets for them, and how they tie up with the invoices part. Okay, let me quickly jump over to the projects module. So if you look at the projects module, these are all the different projects that is created in the system. And this is an overview of the project. Like, you will see the project information and what's the billing method. If there's any budget type allocated for this project, that also gets defined over here. And you will also see the revenue summary of the specific project, how much hours has been logged, and what's the total revenue for the logged hours. Right? And to give you a snapshot of the different tasks associated with this single project, you can head over to task. You will see the different items over here in the form of a Kanban view. Right? And you also get the timesheets that's been logged, how many invoices you have created for this specific project, and the different expenses that's been logged. Right now, there's no expenses logged, but you'll also see a list view of the expenses over here. Right, let's go ahead and create a new project. Let's say it's project Kissflow, developing core modules and functionality, just giving some sample information. And you also need to choose to which customer this project is being created. Right, for now, I'm just creating against Albert S. Hill. And you need to choose what's the billing method. Based on the billing method, the way you create the project is going to be completely different. We have three billing methods. One is a fixed cost, then we have based on project hours, then we have based on staff hours, right? If it's a fixed cost project, you need to enter the total project cost, and this project cost gets billed to the client, right? But if you choose project hours, you need to enter the rate per hour over here. If you choose staff hours, you need to select the user and the rate per hour associated to that respective user as such, right? Um, Now let's go ahead with the fixed cost for the project. Let's say it's $100,000, right? And I'm going to associate one user as part of this. So I'm going to associate Alfred Pennyworth over here, but I'm going to add a couple of tasks for him, right? Let's say engage with a client. Oopsie, my bad. Create SOP for client and develop an React app, test the app, and deploy the app on Azure. Okay, so I'm just going to create all these things. So the engage with the client is actually not a billable one, right? But all these other things are billable, right? So I'm going to click on submit. Once I create the project task will be created against this specific user, and all these items will be available as part of the task center, right? If I go to task center, as a project manager, I get to see all the tasks are in which stage, and based on the criticality, I can track all these tasks, right? So as a project manager, you can see the different tasks based on each of these stages. Like some of these tasks are still in the initiation stage, some of these items are in the planning stage. And based on the priority, just quickly sort between these different items, and I can see what's happening within all these things. Right. You can see that every task that we just created for Alfred is set to medium priority by default. If I click open it, I get to see the project name, the task name, and everything. And since Alfred has to work on this, I'm going to switch over to another window, and I'm going to show you how Alfred would perceive this information, right? Now, if you look at this window, Alfred would have only two modules. This is a very restricted privilege. He will have access to Task Center, where he get to see the different tasks, right? And also the timesheet that's been logged under those tasks. That's his only job over here, right? If I go to the Task Center, we have this very beautiful timeline view over here, right? You can see that there are already a couple of, there are a few tasks over here that is already begun. So it starts on 10th and it's set to end on December 16th, right? And there's another task for Alfred that starts from 14 and it's going to end on 20th, 12 a.m., right? Now I can open up each of these tasks, right? And I can check these tasks and start working on these accordingly. Like if I want to log a timesheet against these tasks, click on log timesheet, and it will open up a window where I need to fill in the timesheet information. Click on add. Let's say I'm working today for 2 hours. Yeah, yes, engage with the client. This is not a billable one, so I'm going to click no. I'm going to click on submit. And this timesheet will be logged against this specific task against this project now. Okay, let's say if I want to add more timesheets to it, I'm going to click on log timesheet again. And let's say gonna add on 10th, I worked for 2 hours. And on 11th, I worked for 2 hours. Right, and I can click, let's say 11th, let's say 9th, for example. Click on submit. All these information will be logged against each of these projects. Now, as a project manager, I can, I'm going to switch over to another window now. So if you look at from a project manager's perspective, I can track all this information from here itself, or I can go to the projects and go to projects, open up project Kissflow. There's no data because we haven't logged any invoices. There won't be any revenue summary. So we go to task, timesheets. I can see the different timesheet that's been logged, or I can directly get over to the timesheets module. You can see that there's a snapshot of how many hours has been logged already over here. And I can, against the project Kissflow, Alfred has worked so and so hours. I can get all these information from the timesheets module itself. Right now, I'm going to head over to the different window. I'm just going to go back to the task center again. So now let me update the start and end date of that task. Right, let's say engage with the client. Gonna start. Oopsie, my bad. So over here, get a due date, set it today. Let's say I'm gonna finish it on the 14th. Click done. Head over back to the task center. You can see that it's going to begin somewhere around over here. So let's say I'm going to start from tomorrow. Let's set it. Yeah. So from the timeline view itself, I'll be able to easily manage when I'm going to work on which task. Based on that, I can prioritize my work and make sure my productivity is held high. Okay. Now I'm going to switch back to the project manager's view again. So from here, we have seen how you create projects, how the timesheets are logged. Now let's see how these invoices can be created. So the invoice creation is pretty simple. We head over to the invoices module, and from here you get to see a snapshot of your total sales and your overdue invoices. Right. Let's say if I want to create any new invoice, click on the new invoice. It opens up a pop-up, and you need to fill in some of these information like what's the customer or the company name, what's the project. Right. You can see that some of the details are already auto-populated from the customers module. And I'm going to click on add the unbilled items, and you can see that it has already auto-populated the information with the fixed cost project information. And if there's any discount, shipping charges, miscellaneous charges, or anything, you can add these things. And of course, you can set the payment terms. Let's say the payment terms is net 60. It's just pretty common across enterprises, and it can be a full payment. Please ensure on-time payment, and I'm going to hit submit. Once I hit submit, the invoices gets created. Right now, there's no approval flow attached to it because I want to focus more on the project management side of things. But of course, if your organizations have an approval in place where once the invoice is created, it needs to go through certain levels of approval, you can always create your approval levels over here. Like if I show you this widget, you can see that there is one level approval, which is auto-completed. Sorry about that. Oh, my bad. That is an approval happening. My bad, guys. So there's an approval happening over here. Once it's approved, the invoice processing gets completed and it will be sent out to the customers directly. Right. But let's say there's an expense incurring as part of the project itself. You can log these expenses in the expenses module. Right. If I click on new expense, again, you can choose which customer it is, what's the project name, and you can also enter the expense type. What's the expense date? Create an expense type, description, bill amount. And if you have a copy of the bill, you can attach the bill over here. Right. Right now, it's not customized to get reimbursement from customer, but if it's something that if your business objective is to some of these expenses has to be reimbursed from your clients, you can always include an option where you can also invoice these expenses directly. Right. When you're creating an invoice, you just have to choose which expenses needs to be added to the table, and put it across through the approval cycle and get it done. That is also possible. Okay. So now this is a very, very high level overview about the project management system. Of course, some of these things you might be using and some of these things you might not be using. But the sole purpose and the idea is that this app is actually built on the Kissflow platform, which means that it can be customized and aligned with your business needs, right? So I also touch upon how to customize these things. If I click on Edit App, it opens up the app builder. Okay, so predominantly Kissflow is a form-driven platform. So you can see there are different form components over here. We have data forms, we have board forms, then we have process forms. So all these modules are nothing but elements that I've created, which is the expenses, invoices. Then we have task center, which is the board, right? So you can see that there's a whole big form that's happening over here. So you can build these different forms and you can customize these forms, right? So it's a pretty simple drag and drop approach. Let's just drag and drop these things, customize them, and align it with your need. And of course, you can configure the workflow part, you can set the permissions, and of course, you might be having a different set of KPIs that you want to look at. So based on that, you can also create different sort of reports and have it as part of your dashboard itself. Right, and all these form components have their own reporting structure and everything. You just have to create all these things as part of the component, and you sort of assemble all these elements in a page, right? Like if I go to home page, oops, my bad, not this one. Let me go to the dashboard. So yeah, so if you look at this page builder, these are all different reports that is already created as part of the form component. I've just drag and dropped into the page, and I've just customized how it should look in a on the right hand side as part of the styling part. Like what's the size, what's the padding and margin, all those things are customized on the right hand side. Okay. Now if I go, I'll also show you a couple of pages over here. Projects. Again, this whole thing is a master details component, which can be easily customized, of course. And this is another report that is coming from the invoices form component. So this is the idea. So you sort of build these form components, create the reporting structure and KPIs and everything, and you assemble them in a page and just style it according to your needs and branding and everything. Then yes, you're good to go with your project management system. And from a co-developing perspective, it's not just like one person should develop this entire app. Of course, there will be a team of developers or citizen developers in your team. You can share this app and co-build this entire application. You can share it with different users. You can see that there are all these people helped in building this app. So you can co-build this entire app, of course. That's a high level overview about what the project management system is and how to leverage that to increase the productivity and align all these things with your company's business needs.
Well, that was an amazing session for sure, Mr. Bharat. I hope the session was useful to all of you who've joined us. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining.